It used to be really difficult. It used to be you have to go out and source and everything like that. I learned from failing in the ads. I spent money on Facebook ads and stuff like that, and they just didn't go anywhere.
What's been the most important factor behind your success?
Don't think you're just going to get sales going like that. If you change these settings, that perfects this channel a bit better. That was really good.
What message would you like to share with those who are just beginning their journey with Sellvia?
Okay, message I share is really easy.
Hello everyone, I'm Anna from Sellvia, and today I'm excited to host a new success story interview with Paul Cash. He's going to share his top strategies that are generating him around $5,000 in monthly sales from his store powered by Sellvia. Hi Paul.
Hi there.
Before we dive into your business strategy, could you please introduce yourself to our viewers? Tell us a bit about your background, where you're from, and what you're passionate about.
Sure, no problem. Name's Paul Cash. I should tell by the accent I'm from England, but I don't live there anymore. I live in the USA now. Married a beautiful American woman, so moved over to here, and I work here in tech. So I work for some of the largest tech companies in the world. I work for Amazon, work for Google, and a few others. That's my background. Also, I'm ex-military. That was one of the first things I did when I left school, and it taught me a lot of good discipline and good to research stuff and then investigate. That's why I chose this way.
Wow, that's so cool. So, do you remember what first inspired you to start your online business?
Yes, I do actually, because I've been lucky in my career to work with some really, really good leaders throughout England and here over in the US as well. And I always thought, well, look, it'd be good to actually start something that is actually started for me and that I could grow. And I looked at obviously coming from Amazon, I knew a lot about e-commerce. I worked on the website, and I went into AWS, then I went into operations. So I learned both sides, and I thought, well, that's something I know. So let's do some investigation. What companies are out there to make it easier? Because it used to be really difficult. It used to be you have to go out and source and everything like that. And I thought, well, with my job and my children all the time, I don't have time to go and do all that. I'd love to, but I thought I want to look for something that's a good package that actually I could grow with me and I could grow with them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. So, that's actually what made Salvia stand out to you, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a one end-to-end package. You help us a lot. Yeah. There are some improvements on any company that can be done
Yeah,
like that.
we
And
know.
the good thing is you're constantly innovating. You don't stand still. Obviously I'm going to mention it later, but your ads business that you started earlier in the year has really helped a lot of people I know. And it's helped me personally as well.
Yeah, definitely. I know, like, when I back then ran ads myself, I spent hours and hours daily optimizing them, scaling them, just checking my phone every minute.
Yeah,
Yeah, and right now Salvia does it all for you. So you can
it does.
scale,
It does.
you can spend your time with your family and just check your revenue, right?
Yeah, a little bit more than that, but close, yes.
Yeah. So, and like many people think that running an e-commerce business without prior experience takes months of work and endless hours. How was your experience launching your store with Salvia and running it right now?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would say launching it to start with was a little tricky just because there was questions that I had because obviously having a tech background, I asked those questions.
Yeah.
And you replied to a lot of that, which I thank you for that. I think when you look at what packages are out there, you've got to look at something that can fit in with your personal life. And this definitely fits in with mine. It fits in with people I know. I've recommended it to a few people. I don't know if they've gone and done it or not, but they've asked me, and even my family have asked me, and I've recommended it to them. As I said, look, it's an easy way to start. I think one of your startup packages is something like $40 a month, and it gets them into it. It gets them learning. Saying, well, think about it. That's going out for probably two people if you're lucky for fast food. So you spend that a month, you could grow a business and you could learn.
Okay. And what are your current monthly sales like compared to when you first started?
Sure. I mean, when I first started, I thought I was really lucky to get a sale off of Amazon. Now, I would say to everybody, if you think about selling on Amazon, it's really, really tricky because
Yeah.
they've changed all the rules and it's very hard to upload stuff into their system now. And the funny thing being ex Amazon, I could actually talk to the right people over there and say, do you realize what you're doing? You know, That's their strategy. Fine. So I started off, it was like a couple of hundred bucks a month. And that is if it, really I was getting some turnover. And then I began to look more into the ads and began looking more into, the way that the Google writes and stuff like that. So it worked. But since the sell system came in, I noticed that when I invested in that, and then I invested the time of going on and working through what I was selling, how I was selling, I'm looking at some of the reports you guys were generating. They actually helped me think, oh, okay, change my strategy a little bit. Plus, you gave us some advice. We got some emails coming through saying, hey, change this method. It might help you. And I did. And it did help. I was, trial and error as per anything, and that went really, really well. To that, I'm now, like I said, about 5,000. I had a $7,000 month last month. Obviously, that's pre-expenses and all that stuff, but still, that's good. It's growing slowly and generating was what you want. It's not all coming from ads, which is great. You're doing some return people to the site, which is what you want. And the thing I like is you come up with packages that you can look at and go, oh, you can add this to that, so it helps you grow.
Yeah. So, and what does your daily routine look like when you managing your store? How do you handle orders, manage your product assortment, and promote your business?
It's pretty simple for me, to be honest. I go on in the morning. I'm lucky working in tech, so I live in these computer
Oh,
streets,
yeah.
let's say. So I go in the morning, I check the orders that are coming overnight. I go in, the first thing I do is pay for those orders, get them moving, because the faster you turn around, the better experience it is for your customer.
Yeah.
I then look at basically my store, see if there's anything I want to add to it from your packages. If there is, I go and do that. Or do I want to specialize like in the Halloween package you had up recently? I'm probably going to hang fire on that one and wait till Christmas, but I like Christmas more. But listen to me,
Yeah,
like that. So
good
it's
idea.
it's one of the things you've got to like yourself to be able to sell it. That's the way I look at it. And yeah, so I do that, and then on and off, I'll go off and try and go for private browser and see what my store looks like from the outside in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course. So, and how about your growth manager? How has that experience been so far?
So far, it's been interesting. Still learning on that one. They gave me some advice on the ads, which was really good because they said, look, we noticed some of your ads are coming through this channel rather than there. So if you change these settings, that perfects this channel a bit better. And that was really good because that helped me back up on the curve, which is good. Because what I say to anybody who tries this, don't think you're just going to get sales going like that. You're going to get
Yeah.
the old bell curve in the middle of it. So just be realistic when it does dip. Talk to your sales manager or talk to yourself, the business manager, and say, "Hey, what can I do to improve this? What's your thoughts on my store? Like that. Have I got too much generic stuff on there, etc." So
Okay, great. Good to hear. So, and like in your opinion, what's been the most important factor behind your success?
finding a worthy partner, to be brutally honest, because it's hard when you start off by yourself. Like that. I mean, I was lucky with my tech background. I could build websites. I could do all that, but I didn't want to.
Sure.
I have to do that for a living. I didn't want to do that in my spare time as well. So I wanted to find a worthy partner out there who would work with me, help me grow, and also, if I decide I'm going to change direction or I'm going to do something different, I know Anna, I can ping you and just say, "Hey, you free? I want to have a chat about a couple of things," and we try to get together within the week, which helps, and I really do appreciate that. So, I would say to anybody, find the best partner, stick through it. Your first year is going to be bumpy, you know. But my first year was really, really bumpy, but my second year's been going really good.
Okay, and so what goals or dreams do you have for the future of your business? Maybe planning to sell or expand to more stores
Yeah,
and so on.
I'm in the middle on that one at the moment. There's part of me saying, do I want to sell and then change to a specialization? Does that make sense? And so,
Yes.
because my store is quite wide of what I do, I'm sort of going, hmm, I might like to specialize. So I'm in the middle of trying to decide what I'm going to do on that. And I know if I decide to sell, I can come to you guys. You guys can help me, which is really good.
Yeah.
It's nice to have that, be able to not have to worry. How do I do that? Like, I know you can come and ask and say, "Oh, this is how you do it," or you might have a bidder. We don't know. So it's one of those things. I'm in the middle of trying to decide. I think probably January time is when I'm going to make my decision of what I will do. But even if I decide to specialize, I'm still going to stick with Sellvia, yeah, or
Yeah.
Sellvia, however you pronounce it, like that. I still love the product. I've been talking to my wife about it, and I think my wife probably might decide to launch her own one. She's sort of going, "Oh, I can do fashion and beauty," which is her thing she loves. She absolutely loves that one. So I think that's great, darling. You wanna do that? Fine.
Of course. So, and what message would you like to share with those who are just beginning their journey with Salvia?
Okay. Message I share is really easy. Stick with it. Even if you make mistakes, it doesn't matter. We'd learn more from when we fail than when we succeed. So, and I can definitely say my first year, I learned more from failure. I learned from failing in the ads. I spent money on Facebook ads and stuff like that, and they just didn't go anywhere. And I realized that I wasn't looking correctly at how I wanted to sell my business, how I wanted to advertise it. And when your ads came along, it fitted. And what I liked was the tiers you put us through before we can spend too much money in there. So it builds the business up, builds word of mouth.
Yeah, well, actually, it's just to have some time to analyze the performance and then to make it better, right? So
Yes.
we need to gradually increase our budgets, scale gradually, no
Yes.
rush. Yeah.
No, don't think you've got to throw thousands at the problem. I would definitely say that. Don't think you'll spend thousands to get going. It's a real simple way of starting, like that, and then work slowly. You know, see how you build like that. Don't go and take a large loan and think I'll throw thousands at it because that will just lead to failure and lead to debt, which is not a good idea.
Yeah. And I guess that you want to think about selling your business in January, just right after the peak season, right? So you, yeah.
So I see how I do. That's the way to look at it. Christmas is our peak, and it's good to know,
Yeah.
especially over here. You got Thanksgiving and everything. So definitely.
Yeah. Okay, Paul, thank you so much for meeting with me today and sharing your story. It's been a real pleasure learning more about your journey, and I'm sure your experience will inspire like countless people around the world. And I wish you continued success.
Thank you very much, Anna. You have a great day.